I remember when I was brand new in USANA. I was very excited, but also a little bit nervous because I didn't know what to do. So I have Jason on camera with me to ask him a few questions that are probably going through your mind. So the first question, Jason, Premier Platinum Pacesetter. How important is it to someone's business? Do they have to get it done?
The easiest way to answer that is it's not going to make or break your business. It's like icing on the cake. You can still make a good full-time income without that status.
So if someone does want to get Premier Platinum Pacesetter done, what should they do?
What I recommend is you talk to people that you really know, those really important people in your life, and I use the word important loosely. Basically what I mean by important is the people that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, the people you really spend time with and hang out with. You want to do business with those people.
Now for those important people, what if they aren't ready to hear about USANA yet?
And that's a valid question and a valid point. I'm sure that's something that's going through your mind right now. See, the timing's definitely right for you, but it may not necessarily be right for them. So how can you talk to them about USANA? Well, we'll get into that later, but this is something you're going to have to overcome because the reality is if we don't give these people an opportunity to look at this, what's going to happen is they're going to miss out on a lot, which I'll go into in a bit. So basically, this is just something you got to deal with, and there's a way to deal with it. Don't worry, we've got it figured out for you.
So if the timing isn't right for someone to start USANA right now, why should they as opposed to waiting?
Reasonable question. People out there watching this video, timing's right for them or they wouldn't be in USANA. So why would you talk to your friends if the timing's not right for them? Well, kind of like a complicated answer because we're talking compensation plan stuff here, and when you're new, I know that can be overwhelming, so I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. You have those first 4 legs where you can start building. Those people, simply put, can be in front of growth or behind the growth. And what I mean by that is I had some of my important people in front of the growth. And even though they didn't participate in building the business, when they decided to, they had all that growth underneath them. I had one leg in Asia where one friend benefited from. Then I had those important people that joined the business when the timing was right for them, but they were behind all that growth. That growth was in front of them. So I guess my point is, from a compensation plan perspective, even though somebody might not have the right timing, they eventually will. So you want them to be in front of that growth. And they don't have to participate right now. They can join the business. They could even be kind of a quasi-customer and still benefit from that growth. And when they decide to start building, they've got all of that growth in front of them.
Is that because, like, when they join in one of those first 4 spots, they kind of like lock their place into your downline?
Well, you're asking me a leading question, but absolutely. You're kind of locking your place in the organization. Now, understand, I can't guarantee that you're going to have all this growth beneath you. I don't know whose team you're in. I don't know what leg you're in. I'm just saying generally, the way our compensation plan works, it forces down. So eventually, there has to be growth below you if you're going to grow your business. And you may get some help from the people above. So if that happens, you want your important people in front of that, not behind that.
That makes sense. All right, Jason, here's a $1 million question. What do you say to those people when you sit down and talk to them?
That is the $1 million question, isn't it? Everyone wants the perfect response, so I can just go do it and they'll join, right?
That's absolutely.
Well, there's no such thing, unfortunately, because everyone's different. I know you didn't want to hear that, but what I will say is there's a general theme or attitude that you come at this with. It's, you're important to me, I'm doing this business, you're doing it with me. You're kind of demanding that they're going to do this with you because you want to do business with these people. Now, you're not going to quite approach it that way, but that's going to be the general theme.
So that's kind of like the attitude or the mindset that
Right.
the associate's going to be in.
Right. That's what I meant to say is you're not going to say, you're doing this. But that's kind of the demeanor and the attitude you need to have within yourself. Obviously, you're going to adjust the strength, whether it's more or less, depending on the person you're dealing with, depending on your personality. And you know these people better than we do. But your mindset should be, you're doing this business with me because I believe in it. Okay, and whether you're going to participate in building it now, I know you are in the future, so let's just lock your place in. It's kind of the attitude you need to take to this.
So Jason, what's the biggest concern someone might have about talking to someone who's not quite ready for USANA yet?
I think it's that they're going to make something weird in the relationship, or it's not like just that general fear that things are going to go the wrong way or they're going to offend them in some way. And the reality is, these are people that you're really close to. Like if you just be yourself, you're upfront and you're candid and you just talk to them like you normally do, trust me, that's not going to happen. Now, if you do a bunch of stupid stuff where you're doing some over-the-top stuff and you're shoving it down their throat and all that, but I don't think people are going to do that. But you need to sit down and take this step and have these conversations with people. Not all of them are going to go for it, but there's going to be some people that are. And you know what's going to happen? The people that do go for it now are going to thank you later. And the people that don't go for it later are going to regret it. And they're going to say to you, I wish I would have listened to you because that's what happened to me.
And I think that's the worst thing is when you don't present USANA to someone and then 2 or 3 years later they come back and say, dude, like, why don't you tell me about this?
I actually had a friend that for whatever reason I didn't talk to about USANA. I don't even know why. Like, it just is one of those guys that slipped through the crack. And I remember one day I just kind of got to that full-time income and I was flying high because I'd worked hard to get there. And I was just sitting at lunch talking to another friend that was also in the business. And this guy was sitting at a table and he turns to me and he goes, what are you talking about? And I told him what I was doing. And he goes, dude, how come you never told me about this? I feel like he was actually kind of hurt by it. So the worst part about that is I didn't even give him the opportunity. So that's why I'm trying to get people to really see what's really going on here. I'm talking long-term stuff here. I'm not talking about short-term stuff.
So I know a couple minutes ago you said there's no magic script or perfect words to say, but can you, walk me through a process of how you go about talking with someone?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, it's the just do it thing, but just a few steps. Obviously, you got to get the meeting. So you got to take the step of first saying, okay, these are the people that we're talking about here. You need to identify those people. And you just need to be honest with yourself that these are the people and don't hide from anyone. Don't do that. That's the first step. And I'm saying that, it may sound simplistic, but sometimes that's easier said than done. As leaders, sometimes we forget how scary it is at the beginning. And I have to remember what it was like when I was new. So that's the first step. The second step is you need to set the meeting to talk to them. Now, don't do something that you wouldn't normally do with this person. Otherwise, then it is weird. If you normally have coffee with this person every week or every couple of weeks, stick with that plan. If you normally talk to them on the phone because they live somewhere else, do that. The point is, whatever you normally do, do it. And then when the conversation gives you that opening, and it's normally a time when the conversation wanes on another subject, just say, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And tell them what you're doing and tell them that attitude we talked about, that, I'm doing this is why I'm doing this, and you're doing it with me. Because I care about you. You matter to me. I want to do business with you because you're important to me. That kind of, and you can put it into whatever words you want, but that's what you need to do. Now, the other part of the process is that depending on their response, and a lot of people, because this is out of the blue, it's going to be kind of overwhelming for them at first because they probably didn't expect you to bring this up. It's not going to be a yes right off the bat. But what you're going for is, actually it can. I've had a few that's that way, but most of the time for people it's not. But what you're going for is to at least have them look at some sort of information. Your upline can help you on that. Like whoever you're working with, they can help you with that. We've got a lot of tools and marketing methods in our system that can help people with that. Like you can go through some of those and find what's appropriate. You can go to our Facebook page, Facebook/Integritus Group, and say, I've got this person, I'm thinking this would be good or this would be good, what do you think? Somebody in the community will get back to you. The point is, you want to get something in front of them. That's ultimately what you're trying to do, because when you get something in front of them, that will lead to people who are saying, yeah, let's do this.
And on that topic of exposing USANA to that person, do you recommend the new USANA associate tries to explain everything about USANA to the person?
That's
like a flip chart, or should they rely on a couple of videos, or how should they expose USANA to that person?
That's actually an excellent question. Even to this day, and I've been doing USANA for quite a while, I don't try to explain USANA. I let the tools do it. And the reason why is a video is always the same energy, which is hopefully good if it was a good video. And most, the stuff we have is good. Where you may be high energy one day and low energy the next, or you just, because you're new, you don't know what to say. You know what? I still, to this day, say, hey, look at this. Even when I get to that closing point, when people ask me, okay, I've got this question or that question, I don't try to explain it, my answers to their questions. I just say, okay, I'm going to get you some information on that. I'm going to send you something that addresses that exact question. Do you have any other questions? And I just get a list of questions from people and send a video or a document, whatever it may be, to address that specific thing. The point is to answer your question, no. I don't recommend people try to explain things. I don't even try to do that.
That's very helpful. So we'll wrap up this video now, and if you have more questions on how to go about doing this or some specific people in mind, definitely work with your upline or sponsor at first, but also post any questions to our Facebook page. I would also recommend going back and rewatching this video one or two more times. There's a lot of information to absorb from this.